On today's crossover Locked On Mavs, Locked On Jazz, is Luka Doncic going to play? He spoke at practice today. Is that a good sign?
Neither team has a script on how to win 3 more games yet. Who will discover one first?
And hear what adjustments the Jazz and the Mavs could be making for Game 3.
On today's crossover Locked On Jazz, Mav, let's go.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks and the Utah Jazz crossover edition. I'm Nick Angstadt, host of the Locked On Mavericks podcast, NBA channel manager at the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs and Jazz your first listen every single day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. Subscribe to the show. The best thing you can do to help us, leave a comment. Go down, leave a comment. Doesn't matter what it is, emoji, whatever. Respond to somebody else's comment. Get in fights. That helps us. Joining me, as always, my co-host, contributor, writer, Mavs.com, the playoff person, the one more thing king. What you got for me today, Isaac Harris?
There's a scene in the Fellowship of the Ring, and they're in the mines of Moria, and all of a sudden they can hear the drum just start beating because they know something is coming. And I just want to know that if that's what's happening in Utah right now, knowing that Luka Doncic should be coming, he could be coming into this series. Where's your scared, worried factor right now, David Locke?
I don't know. My Legalos, Gollum, or Gandalf, and I don't know who any of those people are. I just Wikipedia'd it really fast. I don't know who any of those characters
just
are.
Pick the one. Oh, man. Luka Doncic spoke at Dallas Mavericks practice today, which is I take it as a good sign. He had a couple of things to say. He got asked a ton of questions, and as Luka does, answered them in very few words. He said, the first couple of days, I couldn't even shoot. I was in a boot, but we've made a lot of progress. He said that he won't be 100% even when he comes back. He still thinks that he's going to be struggling with that calf, and that if there's going to be a risk for the injury to get worse, he's not going to play. Isaac, do you expect Luka to play in Game 3?
I said on yesterday's show, and I'll say it again today, I don't expect him to play in Game 3, but I will welcome it if he wants to play.
You know, I think the Mavericks have played this perfectly, and I really give them credit because I think there was enough doubt out there of whether he was going to play and when he was going to play, that what they really did is kept Jalen Brunson, Spencer Dinwiddie, Dwight Powell, and the rest of the crew motivated and kind of understanding their task at hand, which was to extend the series, go get one, stay engaged, don't feel like you have this insurmountable or incredibly difficult task all by yourselves. You know, Luka, everything on every report about Luka has been good news. I watched him on the floor before Game 2. You could have been giving bad news reports at that point, frankly. He really wasn't doing much. His movements were unnatural. He was jetting his right foot out super far in his shot because he didn't want to land on his left in a way that I actually went and pulled up Luka's shots on NBA.com because I haven't seen him shoot enough to know. And then looked, it's like, okay, that's unnatural. So, you know, I'll give the Mavericks credit. I think they've played the cards right on this, and they're continuing to do so. He's close. I'd be surprised if he plays. You know, Saturday gets to 13 days, which is kind of right about where everyone thought it could probably be. And we'll see. And maybe it's not even going to be till Monday, but they've done what they need to do, which is stay engaged in the series and give, you know, it's clear he's coming at some point. So I think that's it. Frankly, as a Jazz fan on this one, he's great. There's no question. I mean, but thank goodness that
nice of you to admit that. Nice of you to admit that.
Because I mean, Luka could never have a game that good. No, but in all seriousness, no, I'm just kidding.
Saucy.
He certainly could, but Jalen Brunson was every bit as everything in the world. I do actually think there's an element here where, you know, he's not probably 100%, particularly if he plays 3 or 4. He's not very good defensively to start with. The Jazz pulled him out on pick and rolls more than any other team did in all of the NBA. And suddenly a Maverick defense that has been causing the Jazz some problems has a pretty glaring spot for them to attack, which is, you know, the Jazz got very, very stagnant in the third quarter when Mike Conley went out in foul trouble because Donovan Mitchell was trying to find who he was going to use to get Dorian Finney-Smith off of him because he struggles against Finney-Smith. If Luke is in the game, that's quick. Whoever Luke is guarding, come right to the ball immediately and get the offense started. And so trust me, I understand what Luka's offense is, but the Luka's defense, particularly if he's not 100%, gives the Jazz some options offensively that they don't have right now and don't have a lot of great answers to.
So basically what Dallas is doing to Donovan Mitchell right now, and Mitchell's healthy.
Right. Or that they did to Mike Conley.
And to Mike Conley. Yeah. I think everything that Luka would give up on the defensive end, and he's been good this year. Like defensively, he's been solid. He's played his part. He's had really, really good defensive games this season. Maybe they didn't come against the Utah Jazz, but he would take advantage of Conley and Mitchell in every way on offense and make up for all those points and more, I think.
You can't take advantage of him anymore than already was taking advantage of them in game 2. I mean, what's he going to do? Score 4 points a bucket? I mean, seriously. I mean, there is a legitimate fact that, like, I don't know what the Dallas finished with for their offensive rating that game, but I actually don't think their offense can get much better. Didn't they finish like a 120 offensive rating in that game?
Cleaning the glass is 124.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Luka or no Luka, you're not going to have much better than a 124 at any point in the series.
And I mean, the fact that Dallas had 3 turnovers without their primary ball handler shows you.
Let's make sure it's clear. You, me, and Nick had the same amount of turnovers as the Mavericks in the second half.
Yeah.
Or any Maverick not named Spencer Dinwiddie.
I mean, they didn't have a turnover.
Yeah.
Wild. If Luka comes back,
here's the thing. I'm not trying to let me just make sure so that people don't think I'm crazy. Because I mean, I'm not trying to sit here and bash Luka. I got who Luka is. I'm not lost on the number one, drive guy, isolation player in the NBA. Like I got it. I'm not. But the Jazz in the 2 games in which Luka which both teams were at full strength. On February 25th, the Jazz ran 19 pick and rolls where they pulled Luka Doncic into the pick and roll. They averaged 1.56 points per pick and roll on those 19 pick and rolls. In the next matchup, the Jazz had 22 where they pulled Luka into the pick and roll and averaged 1.3 points per pick play. I mean, those are obscene numbers. And the fact is that if you have Luka as the defender on the pick and roll, as the screen defender on the pick and roll, he ranked out of 288 guys, he ranks 285th. So, it's not he's brilliant. He's unbelievable. He's great. Like, don't misunderstand. But if he's not 100% leg strength, which there's no way he is, from what I saw in game 2 to now, there's no way he's 100%. And he wasn't a great defensive player to start. There actually is an argument that the Jazz offense, which was not very good in game 2, now has a place to go. And, frankly, other than Davis Bertans, they haven't had a lot of success and had a place to go.
And I think Dallas's counter to that would be, yes, they agree deep down with truth serum, but they probably just bank on we'll just outscore you.
He's Luka Doncic. Right. You put him out there. Absolutely. I'm not saying you don't put him out there, but you might have gained a game. I mean, I don't even think you play this game of I'm going to take an extra game. Do I rush him back because Devin Booker's hurt? None of that. If he's ready, he's ready. If he's not, he's not. You don't fool around. Right. He's 23 years old and he's your franchise. He's going to carry you to probably multiple NBA finals before it's done. And, you don't do anything other than what's best for him today.
I've seen this question a lot on different places today, Isaac. Do we think that if Luka does come back, let's say he comes back in game 3 early or game 4, like we probably think he does, is he in a limited role? Is he playing less minutes? He said at practice he wants to come back and play, I don't want to play limited minutes is his exact quote today. Do we see Luka accepting maybe a limited role, and what would that look like?
I don't know. I mean, you look at what Steph's doing right now, Golden State, right? I mean, him coming off the bench and all of that. I mean, I think that just goes with the relationship with the player and the franchise and the coach.
As long as we're giving regular season awards out in the playoffs, should Steph Curry get 6th man of the year? Is that
Hey, by the way, are you guys consider the fact that Luka's going to be a free agent coming up, and all the Knicks people were there to see Luka?
In 5 years?
Are you at all worried that you have to acquiesce to whatever Luka wants so he doesn't get mad and leave you in free agency?
I mean, I said the Knicks were there to watch their future point guard that they're going to get this offseason. And of course, it's Donovan Mitchell.
Right. So. No, don't you understand the Jazz master plan? Make Jalen Brunson look so good. We don't want Donovan Mitchell.
The Knicks don't go after Donovan Mitchell. That's using their head right there.
That's right. They're going to sign Jalen Brunson. And, I don't know if you know this, but having 2 6'1" guards in the backcourt can be hard defensively.
Yeah. Brutal.
That's true. Well, anything else about Luka Doncic? We're ready
we
for
were
him.
talking about his limited role. Would you see him taking a limited role?
I mean, yeah, I think he would, just because of his relationship with the team and the franchise and the coaching staff. But it's just any player like that, it's going to be super hard for him. And so, sure, I think he would. Does he want to? That's a different question.
Right. And does he want to play defense? He hadn't before. He has played defense this year. Whether David Locke thinks that he played well or
his best defensive year this year by far.
All right, coming up, we're gonna dive into the
that's like going to like the biggest loser and saying.
Coming up, we're gonna dive into this matchup. We're gonna dive into the things that these two teams need to do in order for Game 3 to get a win. Neither team has really a game plan right now that seems to have won. Each team has a win. So what does the game plan look like for each team? We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Bet Online. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info. Go check it out right now. They have everything available for you. They had taken down the Jazz Mavericks series. Now the Jazz are a minus 240 favorite. That's down. It was like a 500 or something like that a couple days ago. Now that Luka Doncic is progressing back, the Bet Online has adjusted that odds.
We're still a 7-point favorite for this game.
Ooh,
that's interesting. The Jazz 7-point.
Well, because to your point, Nick, you've had all week long on Locked On Mavericks. Even when Luka hasn't played, I don't think you have a double-digit loss yet.
Nope.
So
not by more than 8.
7 seems like a lot. So that would be their to win that bet. You have to have the largest Maverick loss of the year without Luka Doncic.
I'm still waiting for that Jazz game where they just explode from 3 and hit maybe not
22 threes.
Yeah, maybe not 22 threes, but a bunch of threes. So anyway, if you feel strongly about any of those, go check it out. They have all kinds of other things. They have series props. They have game by game. They have the series as a whole. Right now, the Warriors are a minus 1,800 favorite against the Nuggets. So if you're feeling like you want to throw some money away, go put some money on the Nuggets. Everything, go check it out. The website today, your mobile device. It's Bet Online. Where the
my
game
76ers to win the NBA championship line.
Ooh,
where they don't have it up right now.
But you know what else it's time for?
Bet Online.
Oh, it's Built Bar time. I had one today.
And what did you have?
I had the coconut brownie.
Like this one.
Yeah, that's my last one.
They're the best.
Oh,
Yeah.
No.
And they don't have them on the website because they sell out so fast.
Oh, no.
sad.
Really? It was your last one? Like, that's like my worst nightmare. Waiting
I
to happen.
have a Built Bar basket in my pantry.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And mine's
Yep.
too full, and they just released mint marshmallow puffs, which I want, but my basket's already overflowing. And the rule is I can't order more if I've already got it fully overflowing.
That's what my wife tells me.
Right. Same rule. Yeah, we should share baskets. We'll share pictures of baskets. I'll take a selfie with my Built Bar.
David loved my selfie on Twitter.
By the way, do you happen to know the macros on Built Bar? It's pretty incredible.
The new mint marshmallow, 130 calories, 17 grams of protein, 5 grams of sugar, and a bar covered in 100% chocolate with marshmallow fluff in the middle of it. It's great. They're delicious. The puffs are awesome. I had a brownie batter puff one today. Love that one.
Those are like you're like on a
I love those.
You love those, yeah.
I was the only one that bought them. I don't know who else didn't get them. Nobody else on our network knows about them. But as soon as they come back, I'm buying another box. Go check it out.
I have one listener who keeps telling me that they're unbelievable. She thinks they're amazing.
They're great. I'm with her.
Have you done them? Did you order the mint marshmallow brownie? The marshmallow puffs?
No, I have not yet.
I think they sound great.
I'm waiting for the ones I got. All right, Built Bar, check it out. Use the promo code LOCK15 for 15% off your entire order at built.com.
All right. The Jazz win game 1 because they got 34% of their offensive rebounds, and they played 0 transition that game and shot 0 threes. That, as I said after game 1, is not a script by which the Jazz can win 3 more games of this series. The Dallas Mavericks won game 2 by making 22 threes on 47 attempts and not committing a single turnover in the second half. I'm not sure that's a script that the Dallas Mavericks can replicate 3 more times to win games in this series. So how do these teams win games in this series? I mean, let me go. Do you guys buy that premise, like that 22 threes and an all-time NBA record uncontested looks on a half-hearted effort defensively by the Jazz is probably not going to be something we see again in the series?
No, yeah, they'll do it again. They'll make it 23 next time. Set a record. What's the record? Like 26, 27? No,
I mean,
it's not. And then the Mavs got all those free throws in game 1 too, right? So the swings from going to the line a lot or taking all those, like hitting all those threes, it's just, are you going to get both of those things to happen again? Probably not.
So if the Jazz are going to win games in this series, the Jazz have got to get some transition. They're not a heavy transition team, but they were in transition 9% of their possessions. League average is about 15%. They're usually around 13%. So they were at 9%. They averaged, are you ready for this? 0.4 points per transition opportunity in that game. It should be 1.4, not 0.4. So the script by which the Jazz win games in this series, run a little bit more, actually score in transition, and probably get your threes in some of your threes in transition. That's one way. And the other is somewhere between the 28% and the 33% offensive rebounding to continue to get that. I think Dallas can probably take that away, though. That's why I say I don't think it's completely replicable for the Jazz to go do that for 33% again. But that's the script by which if the Jazz are going to win games, home energy, getting out and running, actually getting some stops, getting a few transition threes, getting some more open court opportunities, not getting set with Dorian Finney-Smith on Donovan Mitchell. That's the way. That's how and they haven't done this yet. This is how the Jazz are going to win games in this series.
How do you know some of those numbers are like true?
What do you mean?
I didn't know if you and John Stockton used the same like research like statistician or anything for numbers.
Because you're going to go with the Bill Simmons like non-truths again.
I'm just kidding.
Isaac, can I give you the nice? I like it. I appreciate it. I love you for it. Do you know that John Stockton's career average, I think, assist on the road was basically equal to what it was at home?
Really?
Oh no, we were doing the do your own research.
Well,
for John Stockton.
either way, it's fine.
I thought you were doing. Oh yeah. Being a retired athlete's not a good thing. You have too much free time on your hands. Evidently, they don't have like full news knowledge in Spokane. It's a small place.
For Dallas though, one of the things for
haven't
Dallas,
you seen those hundreds of athletes are just dying on the court every time you watch a game?
Hundreds. For Dallas, so we had Mike Shed, assistant coach for Dallas Mavericks for over 13, 14 years, and on our pod before game 1, he said, hey, you got to make Utah shoot twos. You got to force them off the 3-point line. And that's something we've been monitoring of these first 2 games. Dallas has done a really good job of that, of forcing you guys, you look at the regular season, Utah averaged around 45, 46 2-pointers a game. Both of these games in the first 2 games, Dallas is forcing the Jazz to take more twos. So I think that's something they have to lean into. And going to the 3-pointer point, I think it's Tim McMahon who tweeted out after the game that Dallas took 17 uncontested threes in that game. I'll kind of turn it back to you, David, on this. What's Utah's answer to Dallas getting uncontested threes if your perimeter defense is so bad that you can get into the paint and it's drawing Rudy to the, because you can't just give up a layup. How can they prevent uncontested threes that Dallas got in game 2?
Oh, you didn't mean to ask, because I did.
I was going to say, he watched all of them.
And go watch all 47 3-point attempts.
Your show was posted on Reddit today, and somebody was like, I appreciate the work, but I don't hate myself. I'm not going to listen to this.
Somebody told me on Twitter that I need to go, like I had mental I needed to see. I was like, if this is the show that actually made you realize that, you have not been paying attention. So here, I just think it's interesting. So just kind of give you an idea. Let's just go first half. You took 25 threes, right? Mm-hmm. 2 of them are on the play in which we're all talking about. 2 of those 25 threes come off. Guy drives, Gobert leaves his man. You kick to Gobert's man. 6 of them in transition. 5 of them on just like basic, fundamental interchange issues. 3 of them on pick and roll. 3 of them on isolation. 3 of them on like very simple, like Spencer Dinwiddie takes 2 dribbles to his left. Daniel House leaves Trey Burke naked and leaves Trey Burke for a deep open 3. It was a deep shot, and then one of them off the zone. So honestly, and this sounds like so, and then just to get third quarter, 2 more on the Gobert. By the way, at that point, you're 0 for 4 on those. 4 on interchanges again. 4 more on interchanges. I'm talking about like Davis Bertans is guarded by Jordan Clarkson, runs by Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell switches, which probably is what you're supposed to do. Jordan Clarkson doesn't. Like, you've just got to know what your game plan is. 3 transition, 2 more pick and rolls, and 2 more ISOs. So really, honestly, like, a lot of that's just effort. There's 3 possessions in a row when Kleba hits a 3, Dinwiddie hits a 3, and Finney-Smith hits a 3, where Gobert is shifting over, and those are, were absurdly bad rotations by the Jazz to not make the rotation to the corner for the 3. Like, it's not that complicated. Gobert's man's in the corner. Where's the pass going to go? Pre-rotate to the spot. Like, I mean, honestly, like, they should be able to do that. So I think the way you're taking away those 3s is a little bit of just playing some more with a little more focus, a little more defense, a little more effort, a little more tenacity. I'm not like that kind of guy. I'm generally an analytics guy. But if you watch the tape, I mean, it's like I said on the show yesterday, they played like it's November. And Dallas didn't, to their credit.
Yeah.
But do you think any part of that is them just overlooking the Mavs because they don't have Luka?
I mean, Phoenix did it too, right? Like, it's not that crazy a concept,
right?
Honestly,
yeah. The Mavs twice played Phoenix without Luka, and the Mavs didn't get destroyed in those games. Right, so the only reason you could,
I think, if you ask Phoenix, Milwaukee's doing it right now as we're recording this. Milwaukee's down 14 at home in their second game.
Phoenix, the Mavs without Luka did it with Milwaukee too.
Right? Yeah. I mean, Phoenix last night, if you watch them, they weren't particularly sharp. Minnesota did it last night. This is not a crazy playoff concept that you win the first game and you come out with a little less tenacity than the other team did. I thought it was a little extreme, particularly with Luka lingering and you're at home against a shorthanded team. On the other end, you know what? If the Mavericks went through a whole season with this roster, they'd probably win 45 games.
Could.
Oh,
I honestly think they could.
Yeah, I think they're a little better than 500 team. So if you walk into their building for 2 road games and you get one of them you're fine. Like, I don't think Dallas is like that horrendous a team. Luke is amazing, but I mean, Dinwiddie's still in the 91st percentile in isolation. Brunson's still in the 94th percentile in pick and roll. Like, these guys aren't scrubs. They're pretty good players. And so, hey, over 82 games would be quite a burden to try to carry this load. But this is a 500 to above 500 team. You're probably not going to beat them twice in their building. Should beat them twice in your building if Luka doesn't play.
Coming up, what are the adjustments for Game 3? Wait
a second. How does Dallas win?
No, we're
gonna go long. I mean, come on, I run the damn place. What's Dallas' script?
I honestly think they just keep the same script. Like, you force the 2s, you keep on going small. They're obviously they're just riding off the rebounding battle and the points in the paint battle. Saying, hey, like, we're gonna lose the rebounding thing. And we saw Quinn Snyder's quote after game 1. It's like, hey, if teams want to keep getting out rebounded by 20, maybe they'll rethink them going, small, basically. Dallas, like, hey, we just lost the rebounding battle by 19 and we won the game. So I think they're just going to put the shooters out there. That's why they're playing Maxey over 30 minutes compared to Dwight at 15 and say, hey, we'll challenge you on your rotations. We'll put shooters on the floor. We'll kind of play a little bit of the Clippers script on it. And we'll try to.
I'm not trying to be like.
No.
Honestly, like, you lose the series doing that unless you shoot 47% from 3 again.
Well, I just don't know what other option they have.
Okay, you might be right. Like, until Luka comes back, that might be the truth.
And that's why we threw out the, hey, shoot at least 43s in the game. Like, that game 1, we shot 32 threes. Can we at least get up to 40? Like, chuck them. Like, I'm in the press box with Jonathan Sharks and Bobby Crowell. We're like, just chuck the threes. Like, this is without Brunson, Dinwiddie relies so much on driving to the basket for his points. He can't drive against Rudy Gobert. So it's like, without Brunson in there, then you just got to chuck the threes. So I mean, you just almost have to pray and say, this is our game plan. And hopefully that 5 to 6 of these things can go true in the same game again.
And you know what? I don't think that's crazy because you actually have a crazy math. And the Jazz have usually been I'm usually the one talking about the Jazz have a crazy math advantage. I'm a huge believer in shot distribution advantage. It's 2 or 3 points in a game. It's 9 to 11 wins during a season if you actually are that high. Last year, the Jazz were about 2.5 points a game in shot distribution between offense and defense. Right now, the Mavericks they're up a point or two. If we looked at, I don't know if you guys ever use QSQ, which is the second spectrum number of expected shot quality. I would guess that the Mavericks' expected shot quality is 2 or 3 percentage points better than the Jazz right now. And so you might be exactly right that's actually the script on this is if you take away the threes and bomb a bunch, you have such a math advantage that maybe you do get 4 out of 7, or you at least get 1 of the next 2 before Luka comes back.
Because the Mavs have maybe two players that are allowed to take other shots, right? Everybody else on their team are only allowed to take certain shots, and so they're only allowed to take quality shots, like Dorian, Maxey, even Dwight, and that. Like, you're just not allowed to take a shot that's not quality, and it's just Brunson and Dinwiddie, which gives the Mavs less, like, their margin of error is so much smaller to win games like that because they don't have, you know, shot creators. Like, they don't have the three that you guys have in Mitchell, Bogdanovich, Clarkson. They just don't have the options.
Yeah. So I'll pull up those numbers and see what we have in our next, before we start our next segment, of what the shot quality of the two teams have been.
Coming up, the adjustments to be made for each team. We will talk about what the Mavs need to do, what we expect from game 3, when do we expect Luka to come back. We'll talk about all that coming up. All right, Isaac Harris, David Locke, we're back. Locked on Mavs, Locked on Jazz crossover. Talking about this series, tied up 1-1. Luka Doncic looming in the series. Isaac, if Luka doesn't play another game in this series, what happens?
Oh, the Jazz win. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't want to say that, but if he doesn't play at all in the series, then I think, you know, Utah, they just have too much. And, Mitchell's too good. And Bogdanovich, you know, we were thinking about what you said, you know, on our crossover heading into game 1 about, hey, what's it mean if Bojan scores more than Clarkson? Who's going to score more in the series? And you were saying, you know, you as in David Locke was saying on this pod, hey, if it's Bogdanovich, that's good things. And he goes off for 20 in the first half. We're like, dang it, David Locke. this is a good thing for Utah. And then Clarkson, you know, goes off in game 2, points wise, defensively he struggled, but y'all just have a good little 1-2 punch there outside of your best creator, Mitchell.
I think the foul trouble is big. I mean, I think that really derailed Mike. I was actually talking to Mike today. I figured out he played 74 seconds in 72 minutes of real time.
Wow.
Oh, dang.
Because he went out with 8 minutes left in the second quarter.
Yep.
Halftime, he played 76 seconds, and then sat for another 8 minutes. He basically played 70 seconds and 70 minutes of real time.
And that's harder for an older player like that to just come back.
Said that. He actually said that in the presser today. He said he got stiff and was bothered by it. But if you can, you know, the Jazz don't have any guard depth, so it's 3 guys. It's Conley, Clarkson, and Mitchell. Those are the 3 guards you're going to play for.
And not Trent Forrest.
Trent Forrest.
No, not. He's not going to wait. You know. By the way, I just want to point this out. Game 6. He's going to come back from his foot sprain and wave your ass out.
No.
If he waves at us, I'm done.
Why can we never forget that wave off in Summer League? I guess it was because it was a free throw and it just stuck with us.
In Summer League.
Oh, was it on Elam scoring?
I think it was.
In Summer League? Was it?
I think it was.
I don't think
Because, a wave off on Elam scoring after free throw is kind of awesome.
I think I remember saying, like, hey, have fun. This might be your biggest moment in Summer League. But
in his career.
Ironically enough, the Jazz seriously miss him right now because they guard people.
Yeah.
So staying with Conley real quick, what do you think Daniel House eats into his minutes at all when it comes to, you know, defending Brunson?
So one of the things that we're talking about adjustments are working is Mike Conley getting some off the bounce threes. Mike Conley is an older guard, small guard at this point. He's not a good rim finisher. He's on the rim very, very rarely. So he does shoot that, you know, left hand switch.
Nice floater game. Yeah.
Floater. It's not the highest percentage shot. Analytically, it's exactly what you want. So is Mike Conley either assisting threes or getting some off the bounce threes? He's the number 1 off the bounce 3 shooter in the NBA. That would be the first kind of sign to me that something's going better for the Jazz if Mike's getting those looks. If Mike has to be an in the paint player, that's not a great script for him at this point in his career. So if that's the case, maybe you see Daniel House.
So it's not even.
I really think, by the way, I know this sounds crazy, but if they execute it correctly, you got to put up a little resistance. Okay, you can't just be a swinging gate, but you got to put up a little resistance. Rudy taking away the rim, pass to the corner, guy rotates, pass to the next guy rotates, pass back up top. There's a play late in the game. Finney-Smith gets it. Gobert's there. Finney-Smith jabs twice and hits the 3 over the top. Hell of a shot. You want to live on that? You win. If that's the shot you're going to win on, you win on that. It's the butt-ass naked, wide open corner 3 or above the break 3 because someone didn't make the rotation. As much as we're all talking about the dribble penetration, in this league where you can't hand check and you can't touch, stopping dribble penetration is really, really hard. If we can put up enough resistance so Gobert can have more impact, so the guys can rotate. Here's another adjustment. If I see the Mavericks getting the ball to the corner and having to make a pass or drive, kick, and have to drive again, because particularly if Luka's not playing, there aren't other ball handlers. Like if Reggie Bullock or Dorian Finney-Smith or Maxi Kleber or Dwight Powell or somebody else has to put the ball on the deck for more than 2 dribbles,
This is the
we're at a Disneyland ride, and you're not sure you're staying on the rails any longer.
This is last year's Clippers problem with the Mavericks. They literally didn't have anybody else that could handle the ball, so they had to play Trey Burke and throw him in there. Luckily, Brunson has taken the next step forward. They acquired Spencer Dinwiddie, and now they have at least 2 more guys that are able to dribble in these moments, but nobody was last year. Well, I'm waiting for a Donovan Mitchell like super efficient going off game. Is that do we think that that's coming at some point where he just goes off, has 40, shoots like 55% from the field, or if the Mavs sort of in throwing multiple guys at him, trying to make it hard, have sort of taken his efficiency out of this series?
He's 14 of 51 over the last 2 years when being guarded by Dorian Finney-Smith.
That's
The
a number
length.
I like.
So I don't think the answer, and he's 4 of 20 from 3. So unless you're getting somebody switched on to Donovan nearly every possession, which means you're really not playing your offense, playing your game, you're just playing half court, get a switch, go to drive, then I don't see that big game for Don. I do think, the Jazz are a great pick and roll team. I'm guessing we're going to see less and less pick and roll, and we are going to see that switching drive, have Gobert stay in the dunker spot. Kleber and Powell have done such a good job coming up high on the ball and creating such traffic that there aren't very good passing lanes, that I almost have a feeling the Jazz are going to do what the Mavericks are doing, but just do it with Gobert in the dunker spot. And then Kleber and Powell have to come up to the ball if they're going to impact it, which leaves Rudy open at the rim. And now you're lobbing over the top. Or
and Mitchell's,
if they want to throw to
Mitchell's good at throwing lobs to Rudy.
He is. Our lob percentage was really good the other night. That led to more threes than actually Gobert leaving his man and kicking to the corner. It was transition off trying to get Rudy offense.
Oh, true.
The other side, though, is then Dallas has got to, if that doesn't happen, Dallas and Donovan's driving on Dinwiddie or Bertans if he can play anymore in the series. No comment to that.
No, we agree.
No, I'm here.
By the way, if Luka doesn't play and Bertans can't stay on the floor, like, where are your 240 minutes coming from?
Well, that's why Reggie Bullock and Dorian Finney-Smith have both, I think they've averaged like 44 minutes in this.
As of last night when we recorded our show, through 2 games, everybody threw 2 games in their series. The 3 leading minute getters in the NBA playoffs were Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Jalen Brunson. Like, those guys just have barely come off the floor at all. And the Bertans, Josh Green minutes have literally just been, we got to get our guys 5 minutes. We got to get Reggie Bullock 5 minutes or 1 minute here, 2 minutes here, just to sit for a little bit. And that's the way that they're going to keep playing. They'll keep playing those guys, but they're not going to be effective, right?
And don't laugh.
And the Trey Burke minutes too.
Yeah, don't laugh. But Frank Ntilikina would be playing right now. And I honestly think if he had his tonsillitis, I think that's the term for it.
He had a non-COVID illness that took him out for a while at the end here.
Yeah, so I honestly think he would be playing over Josh Green right now. So if he comes back, he's out for game 3. If he comes back soon for like game 4, I think he's in the rotation, at least getting some minutes.
By the way, I think the narrative that's out about this series, and this is a little bit to kind of how is each team going to win. Like, I just think the national media has really been bad on this series. Dallas wins that game in transition. They get 8 transition threes in game 2.
Yeah, they're pushing it.
That's, Dallas had 15 transition opportunities, averaged 1.7 points per transition, scored 20 points, had 8 transition threes. The Jazz had 10 transition opportunities, scored 5 points. In the first game of the series, the Jazz didn't have, at least scored 10 points on 9. Dallas had 13 points, scored 15 points, hit 4 transition threes. If you'd only hit 4 of your 8 transition threes, the Jazz win game 2 too.
And the Mavs have not played in transition at all because Luka doesn't push the ball in transition. He's not really necessarily good in transition. There have been games this year where somebody gets a transition dunk or a layup and it just blows our mind because we just have not been used to seeing this team push in transition. But I feel like off of some missed shots, some missed threes, or the Rudy attempts the alley-oop and caroms off, and then all of a sudden the Mavs can just push it because they know Rudy's way behind the play at that point, and they've been able to push it and play a little faster.
Yeah, I did a quick search on synergy on transition possessions this season. Dallas 30th in the league in that. So
yeah,
we don't do that.
And in pace.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, this is very similar series what the Jazz have seen before. The Jazz pick and roll defense has been pretty good in this series. Brunson hits 2 threes kind of early in the third, where he snakes around, and the other time. Other than that, there really has actually been almost nothing out of the pick and roll. So teams abandon the pick and roll because Rudy's too good in the pick and roll. And so then they just play isolation drive game. Dallas is the number 1 isolation team, number 1 drive team in the NBA, largely because of Luka, but not only because of Luka. Like Brunson and Dinwiddie are super good at that. And so this is a similar kind of where Jazz playoff series usually get to, because you have to take that away. The question is whether the Jazz, I think, on the other side can get out and go at all and get some of those looks they're not been able to get so far.
There's a lot of areas that obviously when Luka comes back, it changes, but that pick and roll area is one that I think changes a lot. Dwight Powell's offense has been just nothing in this series so far. When Luka comes back, that becomes a completely different thing. And I'm curious to see how that gets added into this series, like dropped right in the middle of it. Like all of a sudden they have this option.
And what does the center rotation look like with that? Because, Dwight gets 15 minutes the other night compared to, Maxey getting 31. And it was because, they thrived with that shooting on the floor. So do they keep that with Luka, or do they bring Dwight in more with Luka to utilize the pick and roll? I don't know.
Are they back to like the Porzingis days of having 2 different identities as an offense?
No, we don't reference those days anymore. This is a new era.
One note for you, 2 middle regular season games that kind of mattered. 84 picks against Gobert, about 1 point of possession. 39 picks against Whiteside, about 1.2, 1.3 points of possession. So the Whiteside position, that's where Kleber got going. Kleber got most of his possessions when Whiteside was on the floor, and that's where Kleber got his early looks and in transition.
Yeah, Whiteside almost connected with Maxey on his air punch that got him the tech the other night. I got worried for Maxey's life for a second. But the Josh Green minutes, Josh Green actually had a role carved out in the rotation before this playoff series. He only had 5 minutes the other night, but he just can't be on the floor with Rudy. And because they just put Rudy on him, and then, the classic play we all witnessed of Josh just driving, dribbling around in circles and then doing a pretty good spin move, and Rudy's just like, no kid, you cannot score at the rim.
I'm gonna take this out. And the Mavs, one of the reasons why the Mavs have been able to have games where Maxey goes off after going through a huge slump is Jason Kidd has been so into empowering players, like keep shooting, keep taking this shot. Reggie Bullock at the beginning of the season couldn't hit anything. Mavs fans are so mad at him. Then all of a sudden he gets hot and he starts hitting shots. Like they're just going to keep telling Josh Green to shoot, right? Like if he's out there and he stops shooting, then that all of a sudden messes with his confidence. And then that goes counterintuitive to what Jason Kidd is trying to do. And so I think that's another reason why I don't think he can play. It's because if he's out there, he's going to shoot. They're just going to keep calling for him to shoot because he's going to be wide open.
He's like Juancho. Juancho had a good game.
I would like to see more Juancho, but I have an unnatural love affair with Juancho Herman Gomez.
It's a movie star. When's that movie come out?
Yeah, it's probably not. It's probably not probably having a love affair with a player of the caliber of Juancho Herman Gomez is probably not the greatest thing ever. But
how are you and the Jazz feeling about Marcus Smart winning Defensive Player of the Year?
I actually didn't have a problem with Marcus Smart winning Defensive Player of the Year. What I had a problem with is that 40% of the voters didn't count Rudy in the top 3.
Really? I didn't even see that breakdown. Wow.
So that seemed to me to be
3?
unnecessary. That seemed to be a little ridiculous.
Dang, I need to go to bat for the future Maverick here.
You sure do. By the way, all right, now back to while you continue with your future Maverick. Here's a neat little note for this. You ready?
Okay.
First 6 seconds of the shot clock in this series, the Jazz are taking. Let me just do one little note thing. I actually had one little mistake on this. Give me one. The Jazz are taking. This is on the fly right here. In the first 6 seconds of the shot clock, the Jazz are taking 9 shots a game, 8.5 shots a game.
Okay.
And 3 of them are threes in this series. In the regular season,
That was what I was about to ask you.
the Utah Jazz took 12.2 shots and 6 of them were threes.
Wow.
Run them off the line.
Sounds like
That's
good
where the
defense.
Jazz, that's in the first 6 seconds. If you go to obviously the first 8, it changes a little bit, and gets even to be more. But that's what the Jazz. The threes, Jason Kidd Dallas done a great job. Those threes are just not coming on a half court set. In the first 8 seconds, so Mike D'Antoni's 8 seconds, the Jazz average in the regular season, the Jazz were averaging 10 threes a game attempted in the first 8 seconds of a shot clock. In the first 8 seconds now, they're getting 6.5. So that'll be the key.
That's good.
Hey, your show's only supposed to be 30 minutes, Nick.
Nick, I'm telling you, boss.
Also blew by that second break right there. Just blew by it.
Isaac, don't you have any control over this guy? Or is he getting like high and mighty now? He's a channel manager and thinks he's big crap.
Here we go.
He never lets me do ad reads. He's like, hey,
What are
you
going to do
can't
for a
talk.
new co-host at the end of this series?
That's true. I just took everything away from him. I stopped him from doing he can't talk in the cold open. No ad
I don't
reads.
get shady rays.
I have
What's up with him hiding the shady rays? From
I
you?
have a pair of shady rays for him, and he skipped all the last Mavs games of the year, so I couldn't give it to him.
At least you're a loyal Built Bar buyer.
Oh, I love Built Bar, and it's great for keto. I did keto and stuff for a while, and it's great for that.
All right. Are we doing, when we do this next Wednesday, what's the series?
That will be at what game will we be at that point?
I mean, game 6.
Will we do one next Wednesday?
Yeah, I was gonna say 3 more games left.
At least, yeah.
So one
No, I
team has
think
to
we'll-
win all 3 of those games. For it to
So
be
let's
over
start with
by then.
that. Does anyone believe that their team can win 3 straight?
No, I think Mavs are up 3-2 after 5 games.
All right, I'll go with the Jazz up 3-2.
Okay.
I think I'll go Jazz 3-2 as well.
I think.
Well,
Jazz win the 2. Jazz win the 2
in Utah
in Utah. Lucas plays better on Monday in Dallas.
when he's back.
Mavericks win. Lucas close to 100% for game 6 and 7.
Spicy.
And they win in game 7.
We already discussed it. Trent Forrest waves by.
I thought he was going to go for his quote for Utah, like, you don't win in Utah, like the stat of how long it's been since we've. How long has it been again?
14 straight losses for you when we wrap up the series in game 6.
We talked about the last time the Mavs won a game in Utah. This podcast didn't exist.
That is to the network?
I don't think so.
I don't think the
It
network.
was like 2015, I think, right?
No, the network was just starting.
Wild.
crazy.
Let's here's to ending that trend.
Well,
right
Well,
this year.
David, I just want to say thank you for joining the top YouTube channel in the network from last week.
Hey.
It's an honor to have you on this YouTube channel.
Either the show's really good or there's a search magic, whatever that might be.
Either the shows
Is
really
Luka
good.
Doncic in every title? Maybe, but
Yes.
Luka Doncic sits. Mavs beat Jazz.
It works.
Who gets more podcast listens? The 5th biggest market in the country or the 34th biggest market in the country?
Dang it.
It's true, but if you add them together, hold on.
I just was wondering.
I can say no more because I know who signs my paychecks. So-
Actually, I don't anymore.
Oh, that's true.
There was probably a time where you actually had my signature on your paycheck.
Nobody has anything else to
longer.
do in Utah.
Oh man. All right.
It's a great city, though, right, Isaac?
Bad. Bad.
Oh,
city.
that's good.
It's all right. Chuck Cooperstein was was looking for a dinner reservation on Friday night. Mark Falwell emails me today. Hey, can you help me with a dinner reservation for Friday night? Like dinner? Like actually, no. I actually in Salt Lake City cannot get a dinner reservation on a Friday night on Wednesday. It's actually a real city. Sorry. Like no, I can't. Sunday, no problem. I can take care of you, Utah, on Sunday, but not on Friday night.
Mark went to Mark is a big foodie, obviously, and he went to Lucky. He posted about today, Lucky 13, Lucky 16 to get a burger or something.
Tonight?
Yeah, tonight.
Oh, I was
And-
at their hotel tonight.
I was like, oh man.
I didn't see it. Lucky
Nick and
13.
I joked about coming to Salt Lake City for.
Yeah, we're just gonna show up on your front
for a
door.
game.
You could have come and stayed. You're welcome to stay.
It's like we should have came for a game.
I mean, it would have sucked when I left you outside. It's 23 degrees outside. You were welcome to come. You want to come out for Game 6?
Oh man, that'd be fun.
See us close out the series. That might be a good one.
Then we can wait. Then we can wave Trent for us goodbye. Bye, Trent.
You know what? Actually, you'll see is when I'm driving away from the arena and you don't have a place to stay.
Lodging depends
I'm
on
done.
result of the game.
I'm done.
All right,
We're done. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs, Locked On Jazz, making us your first listen. Now make your second listen, Locked On NBA. I don't know who's hosting that show today, but they're pretty good at their job. Go check it out. Locked On NBA, wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube.